In this video we'll show you how we can copy and move items around on the screen. So in this drawing we've got a little hexagonal feature. So one thing that we could do is we could use the select function and then use copy and paste. Now the problem with that is that until you collect it, cut and paste it, then you don't know where the hook point or the reference point in the selection is, and that reference point can change depending on how the geometry was created, when it was created even, what sort of iterations have gone through deleting items, replacing items, etc. So the copy and paste can be okay if you want just to have your selection at a different position on the screen where it's not important or too important the exact location of it. If it is important where the location is, then we have to use a slightly different method. So to do that we'll use a thing called move, and under move you've got the options move a point, move an area, move an item, or move the marker. And with any of those options you can switch on the move a copy. So in this case, if I click and drag around the, I want an area, click and drag around the area I'm interested in, then the help at the bottom says left click to indicate a reference point within this area. So if I go into near mode, then I can snap onto the position there, and that will be the reference point that I can use to position the new item as a copy of the original. Along with that I can use the command window down here to give it an explicit position. So that's made a copy of that 1.25 inches away from the original. If I was to create just a rectangle over here to show you a slightly different method, now I use the move command. I'm going to use an area, but I'm going to just move one end of that rectangle. I'll just switch that off. Move one area of that rectangle. Now you'll notice the dimension there. As I move the selection along, then the dimension will be updated, as long as I'm not in near snap. Okay, so if you have a dimension, they're associative to the elements that are created within the selection that you use. So that's using the move command with a copy. You could use a similar technique using the mirror or the rotate command, because they can both be used in a similar manner where you create a copy of the original elements that you chose. Another method which can be quite useful if you need to create one piece of geometry which wants to be used many times on different drawings is to use a thing called a symbol. Now a symbol is a group of elements that can be saved in its own right and then incorporated into any drawing. So the first thing to do is to choose symbol, and you collect a symbol, click and drag around the area, make sure your snap mode is set to near, and then choose a hook point, give it a name, and what happens is when you create that symbol it's automatically stored in its own symbol folder, so that if you start a new drawing and you import a symbol, then you can use that symbol and use the symbol command to place it anywhere on the screen. At the same time you can also set the properties of the symbol, so you can scale it, mirror image it, or you can set the angle of the symbol. So if you need something twice as big, then you simply have it twice as big, and if you want to change the angle of it, then you can change the angle of it at the same time. Now one thing to bear in mind is when you're working with symbols is that they are a group of entities, so can only be manipulated via their hook point. And if you go to view show near points, you'll notice that there aren't any near points at the ends of the lines that go to make up that symbol, because the only thing that the system knows about is the fact that it's a symbol. So for instance, if you try to delete a line, it says there's nothing near the cursor. So when you put symbols onto a drawing and you want to access them or edit them, you have to go to symbol and then you choose explode, where you can point to the hook point, and then you can access and delete, do whatever you want with it. The other thing that you can do is you can explode all symbols within there. So now when you do a redraw, you get the point markers showing the endpoints of all those lines. So that's showing you a wee bit about the copy, move and symbol command.